Hello everyone. Bloodlust is real. And it's happening from the left. From the attempted assassination of President Trump, twice, to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This bloodlust is coming from the left. Now, not all Democrats are leftists, but all leftists are Democrat. And you have to wonder what's going on in that party where this bloodlust is actually in some of their mainstream candidates. Which one? I'll tell you in a second about a guy in Virginia who is exhibiting this behavior, and not 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but 3 years ago. That'll be next, right here on Government. Hello Raindrops, new subscribers and old friends, and welcome back to Government. Minutes that matter. This is Mr. A joining you again for another edition of Government, where we look at politics, we look at policy, we look at events of the world, and we talk about them all. As always, this video is dedicated to the glory of God who blessed this land. In less than a month, on November 4th, we have elections going on in several places. Today we're going to talk about the state of Virginia. Virginia has a governor's race, a state attorney general race, a lieutenant governor race, and others. Today we're going to focus on the attorney general race because it's very interesting, the candidate the Democrats have put up for this position, for the top law enforcement position in the state. This gentleman's name is Jay Jones, and Jay Jones, again, is the Democratic nominee for Attorney General in the state of Virginia, and the citizens of Virginia will vote on November 4th for that race, among several others. In 2022, the current Virginia Attorney General Democratic nominee, Jay Jones, sent text to Republican Virginia delegate Kerry Coyner in which he described his fantasy that the then Virginia House Speaker, Republican Todd Gilbert, quote, gets 2 bullets to the head. And he went on to say that if there were 3 people in a room, Adolf Hitler, Pol Pot, and Todd Gilbert, and he had only 2 bullets, Todd Gilbert would get both. In a follow-up phone call to Coyner in 2022, Jones said Gilbert's wife could hopefully see her 2 children die in her arms so her husband could reconsider his political views when talking about gun violence. When asked about this, he said that a lot of times only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. This is the nominee of the Democratic Party in Virginia to be the top law enforcement officer, the Attorney General in that state, wishing to put 2 bullets in a political opponent's head and that his political opponent's children would die in their mother's arms to make a point about gun control. In a statement on Friday, October 10th, Jones admitted to sending the messages and said he takes, quote, full responsibility, unquote, for his actions and apologized directly to Todd Gilbert and his family. He said that, quote, reading back those words made me sick to my stomach. I am embarrassed, ashamed, and sorry, end quote. I think he's ashamed, embarrassed, and sorry because they came to light. I don't think he would have reached out to Todd Gilbert and his family had these not come to light. He is doing his best to save his political butt by trying to get ahead of this, yet nothing can take away from the fact this man, just 3 years ago, you might understand it was some 16-year-old hothead, 18-year-old idiot who said stupid things. Haven't we all? Not this. But no, it was 3 years ago when he said this. Obviously, President Trump, Vice President Vance, and many other Republicans have called upon Jones to drop out of the race. As of this recording on October 14th, sadly, no prominent Democrats have done the same. Gubernatorial candidate Abigail Spanberger, the Democratic nominee for governor of Virginia, declined to call for Jones to drop out of the race during a Thursday, October 9th, evening gubernatorial debate. Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia remained silent when asked by Fox News Digital repeatedly if Jones should drop out of the race. Warner was also pressed on whether he would demand that Jones return a $25,000 donation made to his campaign in August, and he remained silent about that. The other Virginia senator, Democrat Tim Kaine, who we talked about a couple of videos ago, was also unwilling to call on Jones to drop out. He told Fox News Digital he's still a supporter of the embattled candidate for the state's Attorney General seat. Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat from Connecticut, when asked if Jones should drop out, simply said, "I'm really not familiar with the situation in Virginia." Another U.S. Senator, Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat from Rhode Island, only replied, "Haven't given it a thought," when told of the text and whether Jones should drop out. Let's go to the West Coast. Oregon Senator, Democrat Ron Wyden, called the text, quote, "horrifying," unquote, but when pressed further on whether Jones should drop out, he simply said, quote, "I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you," unquote. This is disturbing. This is not the behavior of people who are serious about toning down the rhetoric and turning down the heat and trying to get along, as they always call on Republicans to do. Where are the Democratic leaders, nationally and in Virginia, calling for this man who wished death upon a political opponent and his children, calling on him to drop out? Where are they? I'm not going to hold my breath. At a critical time in our history, when threats and acts of political violence are mainly coming from the left, where are the Democratic Party of Virginia and the National Democratic Party policing their own candidates and office holders to cut the talk of violence with whom they might disagree? As of now, it seems we can't depend on the Democrats to do that. So we, the people, through the electoral process on November 4th, will have to do what the Democrats won't. Tell the Democrats to knock it off by punishing them politically. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you paid attention, because there will be a test at the next election on November 4th. Remember this, Virginia. You got that winner in Tim Kaine, which we talked about, and now this guy. Is there something in the water? This is Mr. A reminding you that we, the people, are the government. We'll see you next time.